And we are live. What is up, YouTube? So I'm going to be talking about some of the research that I've been doing recently, and I've been talking to a bunch of other experts. I'm trying to get some of them to join up with us right now. Actually, I'm going to go and send the link to Victor. Hopefully he's awake. I talked to him earlier this morning, and it was a different time zone there, so I'm going to try and get him on again. But we were doing some research and watching the 60 Minutes episode where they talked about
making it possible to zero in with
these
pretty hard to speak
craft that these pilots have been seeing. You know what I'm saying? So
the Pentagon confirms
I'm just trying to send this to him in the background. I can't find him.
Lieutenant Graves told us pilots training off the Atlantic coast see things like that all the time.
Every day for at least a couple of years.
Wait a minute, every day for a couple of years?
Mm-hmm.
Every day for a couple of years,
including
these pilots have been seeing these craft.
Florida in 2015, captured on a targeting camera by members of Graves' squadron.
Look at that thing. It's rotating. Oh my gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
You can sort of hear the surprise in their voices.
You certainly can. They seem to have broke character a bit. And we're just kind of amazed at what they were seeing.
What do you think when you see something like this?
This is a difficult one to explain. You have rotation, you have high altitudes, you have propulsion, right? I don't know what it is, frankly.
He told us pilots speculate they are one of three things.
So at one point in this, they did show, and I had that on that point. I wanted to show this part right here.
Ryan Graves calls whatever is out there a security risk. He told us his F-18 squadron began seeing UAPs hovering over restricted airspace southeast of Virginia Beach in 2014.
Southeast of Virginia Beach. So they drew all right, so hold up. Let me you guys aren't even seeing this thing. So here's the video, and I wanted to show this. I meant to be showing this. This is the area that they show where these pilots have been seeing this stuff. It is right here southeast of Virginia Beach. So I started doing some digging around, and you know, Google Earth is your friend, and I was doing some, you know, digging around these areas, and I found this place southwest of Elizabeth City. There was this giant hangar here, and I was like, "Oh wow, this thing is really, really big," and started doing some research into, you know, what this hangar was, and this, you know, there's some pictures of this place. If you go to TCOM Corporation, you can see this photo, this giant hangar here. And then you can see that the tail fuselage, the upper stabilizer of this blimp that's there. And, you know, TCOM Corporation, I started talking about this on the stream the other day, and it got kind of interrupted or cut off, or I don't know what was going on. But hopefully we can talk a little bit more about this and get into some of this stuff. So they do this surveillance solutions stuff, and it's basically like these surveillance blimps. And I come to find out that if you go to this area, there actually was another hangar that was located here, and you can see that these doors were massive. I was looking at these doors, and I was like, wow, these things were massive. And I was like, oh, started doing some research into that, and I found that there's a Tillamook Air Museum that's in Oregon, and it's a giant hangar B. And it's got all these old airplanes in it, and it's got all these old photos and stuff, and they really contributed to the this is the one in Oregon, and it's intact. You can see those pillars that we saw out here. Those are the same things that are intact at Tillamook, and apparently they built. If you go to the website, they built 14 of these, or 17 actually. There were 17 giant wooden hangars. They're all made of wood, which actually wasn't a very good idea of a construction material, because once they catch fire, they're like, it was like the Hindenburg, um, like thermite. Yeah, the thermite paint that was on the surface of the Hindenburg that made it burn up so fast. But anyways, the first two burnt down like shortly after they built them. They were all built in World War II, 1942, and the first two burnt down 3 years later. And those were the ones that were actually the hardest to find. They're not Richmond. So this is something else we'll get to in a second of why this is called Pyramid. This is Pyramid Cove, and this is right where those pyramid craft were allegedly filmed. It's another interesting connection that Victor brought up this morning, and while we were comparing some of the notes in our research of this is the area right where this the Nimitz encounter took place, and a number of this is another hotbed for sightings and activity of these Tic-tacs or UAP that have happened. So, of course, we've been scouting out the local geography and doing what any aerial reconnaissance, good intel person would do, is just trying to figure out, well, what's going on around these two areas that make them hotbeds for UFO activity, and could it be traceable to something terrestrial? What on earth is this? What on earth are these pyramids and UFOs that the Navy's releasing and talking about? Rather than what in space or I don't know. Anyways, I've come to find out that two of these hangars were in Irving, California, which is they're actually right here in Irving. They're called the Tustin blimp hangars, and you can see them right here, 1 and 2. And going on Google Earth and check these things out. I mean, you go and zoom down, you can go and just. Here, we'll drive by and take a look at these things. They're just massive. And this pictures, I got a whole collection of pictures I've been doing. Let me just blow this up for people to see. That's the one in the distance. But these blimp hangars were absolutely massive, and start getting into some of the research, and the U.S. Navy, built these blimp hangars. This is the one in where the heck is that one? Is that one of the ones in New Jersey? So I was doing research and finding all of them based on that map that I had. So here's a good version of that map. As you can see, there was one in South Weymouth, Mass, which is close to me here. I've actually driven right by it, and I never knew it was there. But apparently, these things had a lot of lead in them, and I don't know, there was other stuff that went on at that site, but they don't even let you in that site. It's all blocked off, and there's hidden bunkers. Let me show you the video. There's a guy going around, and he goes and finds these hidden bunkers.
There it is.
He goes
Secret
in. This is
bunker.
in Weymouth. This is on
So
the
there
on
is
the
spray
old
paint on the
base from World
outside.
War II, and there's like these vaults. They build a whole bunch of these mounds during World War II, and I guess they must have stored munitions or ammunition or rounds or whatever they stored. A lot of it was explosives and munitions, and they stored them in these vaults so that they couldn't be bombed or blown up, or if they did get blown up from the inside and sabotaged, that they wouldn't ever be able to blow up like more than one bunker at a time. And a whole bunch of these were built during World War II. That looks like some World War II work for sure, especially with the amount of overgrowth and everything. And they built these blimp hangars during World War II, and then they decommissioned them in like the early 1960s, and the Navy retired all of their blimp fleet. And the blimps were mainly used for reconnaissance. The military had a whole history of using they used to use hot air balloons as command posts, as observation posts, and during the Civil War. So the military has historically used, balloons for reconnaissance and scouting and stuff like that. And they were once thought to be like the future of like travel. They were people thought that they were going to be everywhere, and that people were going to be using balloons all the time, and that, I don't know, it was just a different era. And they built a whole bunch of these hangars to support the fleet of the military's balloon force. And then they, when better technology, this is when the better technology is what took over, and the balloon force actually retired. So they started using the better technology for surveillance. This is the one in Houma, Louisiana. You can still see the spine of where the columns sat on the big architecture of where the whole thing was before it burned down. That was Houma, Louisiana. There's one down in this was the hardest to find down in it's down near Zoo Miami, the current Zoo Miami. There's a zoo on top of this place. So here's the one of the old hangars was right here. You can see some of the spine of it. One of them was right here, and that was a big circle. And then there was another circle, kind of cross section fields. And this is why it's like a World Heritage. These things were built in World War II, and stuff still won't grow here because of the stuff that they sprayed down in these areas to clear them for the blimp hangars. And this was the blimp hangar right here. This is actually these were the first to go, so they're like really the most grown over and the hardest to actually locate. But those are down near Zoo Miami. The other ones are I was looking up stuff. So one of them was actually right here. Yeah, right here, right off the coast of where 60 Minutes, said that they've been seeing all these, these crafts, which is why, that's why I started, getting into all this research and the balloon stuff, and finding that, all the Zeppelin fleet was retired in the 1960s. And that's when they started Project Echo and the Pygeo satellite, which I covered in my presentation previously. And I didn't realize that both of those photographs and both of those balloons, those crazy, photographs we start looking into, both of those, there's even more. What's going on here? Oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. So, but this is actually a different hangar. But all these hangars, these large aircraft hangars that were built for these Zeppelins, were recommissioned and used for these balloon projects and these satellites, these orbital satellites. And this thing actually just came down recently, and they found that it. Oh, so what's up, man? Hey, so I got a $5. Keep at it, friend. That tweet talking about the plasma balls was wild. Yeah, so these plasma balls and stuff. So I want to get into this and get into this, because it doesn't get to the plasma balls until probably like I would say the 1980s, at the earliest that I'm aware of. But I just want to show how that these hangars still exist today. There's a number of them. This is where the one in Oregon is. So Tillamook, Oregon, you go down to the airport here. There was another one that burnt down somewhere around here. But this is the Tillamook Air Museum, the one that's still left. And we got to get someone to go there and do a high-def video. It would be definitely on my list if I ever made it out that way. But it'd be super cool to get some video footage and tour this and get some history on it. But not that one specifically, but some of these other ones, like the ones in California. There's ones where they're south of San Jose or something, or they're right in San Francisco. Yeah, right here. Here they are. So Hangar 2 and Hangar 3, there's some right here at Moffett Federal Airfield. So at Moffett Field right here, you can find 2 more of those massive hangars right next to a Lockheed Martin complex. And so Lockheed Martin right across the street from these 2 hangars. These 2 are certainly interesting because they have right access to the bay where they could fly these things at night and get them out in open water where they could test them, potentially. That's the advantage, I guess, of these hangars, is that they'd make good places for these secret projects that could have developed into the Tic-tac. But for the Pageos and Project Echo, it was more about this passive geodetic Earth orbiting satellite, and it was just a balloon. And hey, Sean, we'll welcome you to the stream, and hopefully we get some more people to join. I sent out some other invites to talk to join us and talk about the research. Michael Schratt, I was hoping that he would join us because he said he has 14 cases of Tic-tac-like objects that were reported and seen on the historical record. I want to show this. So this is a description of from 1967 of a UFO that was seen and that resembled a Tic-tac, and it was a long cylindrical container, and it had those same appendages. Remember those curved kind of hooked appendages. These ones have like a ball on the end of almost looks like a spark gap electrode. And this is a drawing rendering that Michael had made of it, and taken in a picture of the location of the sighting where it took place, so you can get some perspective. So he actually visits these sites and stuff. So I want to talk about this and some of the technologies that were developed and are there today. So this is TCOM Corporation currently, that's at that hangar there in North Carolina, near where these Tic-tacs are allegedly being seen. And these are tethered blimps, and they're built to really be tugged hard, and the tethers can pull them really hard. So I don't know what their maximum speed is and stuff. But I could imagine these things being towed around by another UAP type craft, and potentially being whipping around pretty fast, and could be maybe mistaken for these Tic-tac type craft. They're obviously they're operating right out of that area. It's something that's local to that area, but I think that there might be some other explanations for these things. But I do want to talk about these TCOM Corporation and their craft. So they have these. This is like strategic class aerostat systems, operational class, these surveillance systems. So they have a whole bunch of different abilities and stuff. You can start digging around this site and watching all their videos. 71 million strategic class aerostat system. Oh, 71M, maybe that's their. Maybe is that the price tag, or that just the code name or the tag number? So it's got a fiber optic powered tether, it says, on this baby. And it has this mooring station. I don't know if it's that just permanent, or they can move that thing around. If the truck hooks up to it, they throw that on a flatbed truck and wheel it wherever they want. So it detects threats and all kinds of other stuff, but I want to talk a little bit about some of the other technology that exists out there, including this.
This is the next generation of surveillance.
This is scary.
We actually have permission from the government to show the basic capabilities. It is important for the public to know that some of these capabilities exist.
Engineer Yanis Antoniadis designed the new sensor, known as Argus. With 1.8 billion pixels, it's the world's highest resolution camera. Argus fits inside this pod that attaches to the belly of a UAV. But because much of the work is classified, we can't see the sensor itself.
Because
it's basically looks like a spider, like a spider's eyes, you know, like a whole bunch of different eyes. They took a bunch of iPhone cameras, these really small, really high definition cameras from cell phones, and they put them all in an array, and a special array with the right optics. And that's the proprietary information that they're protecting under these tarps, just so you know.
They're not allowed to expose some of the pieces that make up the sensors, so you get to look at pretty plastic curtains.
Also known as wide area persistent stare, Argus is the equivalent of having up to 100 predators look at an area the size of a medium-sized city at once. This image was taken 17,500 feet above Quantico, Virginia, and covers 15 square miles.
This whole image is at a very, very fine resolution. So if we wanted to know what is going on in any spot along this image, say near this building at this intersection, we can generate a moving image that shows what's going on in the area.
Simply by touching the screen, Antoniadis has opened up a window showing a detailed area, while still maintaining the broader context.
And everything that is a moving object is being automatically tracked. The color boxes represent that the computer has recognized the moving objects. You can see individuals crossing the street. You can see individuals walking in parking lots. There's actually enough resolution to be able to see the people waving their arms or walking around, what kind of clothes they wear. And you could pick the location of where you produce these images anywhere in the entire field of view.
Antoniadis can open up to 65 windows at once and can see objects as small as 6 inches on the ground.
From even 17,500 feet, the white thing that you see flying around is a bird.
Argus streams live to the ground and also stores everything, 1 million terabytes of video a day, which is the equivalent of 5,000 hours of high-definition footage.
So you can go back and say, I would like to see what happened at this particular location 3 days, 2 hours, 4 minutes ago, and it would actually show you exactly what happened as if you were watching it live.
To create the world's highest definition camera, Antoniadis needed to design a new imaging chip. But DARPA, the project's funder, wanted to move fast and keep costs down. So he borrowed technology that most people have in their pockets.
Inside this cell phone, we find a tiny little camera. So if you were to take off the majority of it, you'd be left with an imaging chip. If you were to take 368 of these and make a big mosaic out of them and start shooting images, now you have Argus.
Unlike the Predator camera that limits
Got
field
it.
of view, Argus melds together video from each of its 368 chips to create a 1.8 billion pixel video stream. This makes it possible to zoom in and still see tremendous detail. Whether Argus has been deployed in the field is classified.
I'm not at liberty to discuss plans of the government, but if we had our choice, we would like Argus to be over the same area 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not very easily achievable with manned platforms. This is where UAVs come in, and they're absolutely the perfect platform.
Argus may be mounted on an armed UAV like the Predator, a long-range platform like the giant Global Hawk, or a development craft called the Solar Eagle that may someday stay aloft for years.
Yeah, this one that stays aloft for years and years. It
We're
just
moving to
stays.
an increasingly electronic society where our movements are going to be tracked.
Yep. We're moving towards this society where there's just going to be these things flying around all day, every day, over every city, just recording everything and keeping it. Wait for it. Anyways,
recognize everything. That'd be pretty
so
crazy.
these things are just tethered. They go up and go down. I mean, they could reel them in pretty fast, but they're not going to explain the speeds and quite what these tic-tacs are. You know what I mean? They're not. There might be other stuff going on in this hangar that we don't know about. Maybe there's something else. But in my other searches, I did come across this, which was super interesting. There's this place up here. I was like, oh, what's this? You know? I started going down. I'm like, oh, these, like, what are these? It's like a box and a big field and a bunch of things down the end of it. I was like, oh, these are shooting ranges. Like, there's a whole bunch of them. And then there's like this big one with an upraised platform and like long distance shooting targets. It goes out to, what is it? Almost 1,200 feet. So what's that? It's 400 yards. That's crazy. So, yeah, there's some pretty crazy stuff out here. And I was like, well, what is academy and like academy, you know? And I started looking it up and I was like, oh yeah, it's Blackwater. They just changed the name. So this is the Blackwater training camp. And I found it just like poking around out here. I thought that was another gem. So guys, go check that out on Google Earth. It's right near where they're doing this stuff. Of course, in Norfolk, Virginia, there is a bunch of Lockheed Martin corporation stuff going on down here at around this air station, Chambers Airfield, NAS Norfolk, Chambers Field, and a couple of these locations. So I thought that was interesting, but nothing that I've come across there that was super interesting. But I want to move along to this location out in California. So I talked about those blimp hangars there. The ones we found the ones there, and the other ones up in California. Those are the only ones on the west coast, other than the ones in Oregon. But if you go right here to San Clemente Island, of course, we talked about San Clemente in other videos a long time ago. This is a location where there's a Navy auxiliary landing strip and actually a facilities for the Navy SEALs. It's a Navy SEALs training area. And the Navy SEALs go here to do training, and they stay here. And there's like, accommodations for them. And this is a whole area where they can run drills, and they run tactical drills with the Navy, including ones amphibious. And if you go on this whole section of land right here, there's a big, huge chunk of all this, and it turns out this is all like military land right here near San Clemente on the shore right here. There's a bunch of wide open land right from San Clemente Islands to the mainland, where in the direct path of where these things are seen. And so I started digging around in this area and stuff, and I found, right on the beach is, of course, the amphibious assault units, right? These things are those hovercraft. See the big rubber, base around them, and these fans that propel them around. Yeah, these are like the big hovercraft, and they can put like, I think they can put tanks and other equipment on here, so they can just load them right on, and they go on land, and they go right out here out onto the beach. And there's videos of them going out, up and down the beach and onto this strip where this called Normandy Shore. You know why it's called Normandy Shore? Because the World War II amphibious assault teams that stormed Normandy trained here. and came and started, probably came from here. So really cool stuff. Some history there. But if you go right up here north, there's Camp Pendleton, and there's this whole giant military base at Camp Pendleton, which I thought is real interesting. And it's really cool what you can see poking around here in the air. And I wanted to just give you guys some gems of what I found. When you go up to, this, you could probably drive through most of this, but when you get up to Fallbrook Road, it goes up to this border here, and there's a big fenced off area, and there's a guard shack here that won't let you in, and that's when Fallbrook Road ends, and it turns into Ammunition Road. And you ain't getting down Ammunition Road unless you belong down there. This is a real restricted area. And there's, again, all these bunkers. Remember those bunkers that I showed you earlier that guy was going through in that video in Weymouth, that they built all these during World War II. And this is ammunition. Again, it's called Ammunition Road. This is where, again, my theory that these bunkers just stored ammunition. And I think must be a lot of ammunition stored here, because there's an awful lot of bunkers. I mean, there's just an awful lot of them up here at Camp Pendleton, and maybe they could be hiding some Tic-tacs in some of these bunkers too. You never know. It's like there might be, a nuke inside one, might be just M16 rounds inside another, might be tank rounds inside of another, and then Ammunition Road, again, it goes up to here, and you get to this guard shack, right, where they don't let you down unless you pass through that guard shack and you have the right credentials to be in that restricted area to go down that road. Then if you go down the road to here and you turn left, you'll find that there's another security gate here, which is even more interesting. There's looks like a dropout thing. They'll drop your whole car out, so you'll bottom out trying to drive across it, or you can't ram the gate. And I don't know what that is. That's really weird and interesting. But there's a gate right here to get down into this area, and it's all fenced off. And this is like, there's a bunch of air handlers and generators. There might be an underground facility here with some other stuff. And this looks like a weird, it's just a pond, I can tell it shuts off right here, man. This might be where the Tic-tacs come out of, man. They just come out of this water right here. This is a whole underground facility. I don't know, but this whole facility down here is some of the biggest munitions bunkers that we find, and they're like 5 bunkers wide, and there's 8 of them, and down in this area. And I found that. And if you're looking for this on the map, you go to Altman Plants. You'll find this place with all the greenhouses. They grow cactuses and stuff. This is where like all the plants at Home Depots come from. This field in these guys are big distributors for plants and stuff. And I don't know, I think they sell to all the mainstream stores and the big stores and stuff. If you go to the left of that, that's where you'll find this thing on Google Maps. So I know we've done some cool Google Map videos, finding stuff on Area 51, but it's cool to get to a new area and stuff. So
that island there, how long do you think that runway is?
Thanks. So which runway?
On the island, where the Navy SEALs go. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go back up. So they have 2 runways. There's the main runway is right here. This is the Navy Auxiliary. So with the extension, it's 2 miles with the extension.
Wow, that's incredible.
If you needed the full length, but
you could probably get one of those Galaxy craft, whatever they call those things.
Yeah, you could land a C5 on that, no problem. Like transport. I mean, there's tons of stuff out here, so that there's I mean, look at this. This is where I think that they really run a lot of stuff out of, because this place is like more shut down, and there's a lot more junk just hanging around. This might be, again, some people say that these are the combat towns. They're just like they build a town so that they can go there and do assaults and like pick out targets and do. But this is a new roof on this building. These are modern. There's stuff driving around here, and this isn't a combat town. There's plenty of those combat towns you'll find out actually at Pendleton. I thought that those were like the some of them were used for SEAL training. There's couple on the island, but there's more of them out here. If you go out to see, look at this. It's called Combat Town 25. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Combat Town 25, and it's a shooting range. Here's a video of it.
Oh, wow.
Pretty cool, huh? So yeah, there's a bunch of these combat towns, and then they on this munitions range. There's bombing runs where they actually like they'll fly the fighters and have them do bombing runs in these, and they do it now in these designated areas, because they used to just blast. I mean, out in Area 51, there's fields where they just blast the hell out of everything, and there's some of that here. It looks like some evidence that went on, out in certain parts out here, but now there's other places where you can tell they do these controlled runs. And let me find one of those, because they look super interesting. I can't find it now. But then there's also MARSOC down here. So this is all, they got the Navy right here. So the Navy's right here. And then the Marines are right here, and the Marines are actually part of the Navy. So, but the MARSOC right here, they're like, this is like the elite. These guys are even beyond the Navy SEALs. So,
I've never heard of them. That's wild.
yeah, MARSOC. It stands for Marine Special Operations, something or other. But yeah, my friend was telling me about it, because he's big into all this some of this stuff, and filling me in on some of this information about, because I'm like, well, where the heck were they hiding the Tic-tacs? Are these aircraft? I mean, where are these things flying? They're obviously flying around here and this area out here in California, and the other area over here out in North Carolina. So I looked in those areas, and I said, oh, this is one possible connection, is those hangars, right?
It makes sense. It
right.
makes sense, like, because like it does, like every single spot leads to another, and like look at that huge runway. Like you could land anything on that.
They could just like take these things out at night, and most of this is commercial shopping all the way down to here, and then they could ride it down the bay, the Marine at night, and people would just there's just ways. There's ways. I don't know if that's the place that's it's being done.
It's probably being done in the mountains. They probably have somewhere. Like
that's what I thought. Like right up here, like up here in the That's why I like that area up there. It's not quite in the mountains, but these munitions range, it would be a good spot too, because you could hide it in all these bunkers. There's all these facilities, and you could just build like, there are already stuff underground. There's already stuff built there.
Yeah, the infrastructure's there. They just use it.
It's right there. I mean, it's all right there. They could easily use it. And there's administration buildings. When you see stuff like this, it's like, all right, well, here's a interesting building. Okay, it's obviously really clean, but it's out here in the munitions field in the middle of nowhere. And there's a bunch of campers here, which means that people are living like out here and are staying out there. I don't know if those are campers. They look like campers to me.
Yeah, that looks like campers. Campers and trucks, and there's a car.
People in
RVs.
there's just a bunch of, they got a lot of power going right here. There could be underground facilities, or there could be just something else, you know. But anyways, again, this gets into, oh, these cool. There's like a bunch of these biodomes out there too. Like, I just picture Pauly Shore in that movie with the biodome. Anyways, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going on out here at Camp Pendleton, and I think that Camp Pendleton, maybe at the Air Force, was testing this stuff on the Navy. That's one theory, is that it's, you know, this was Air Force stuff that they were testing on the Navy. So of course, poking around the Air Force area, there's this area down here where all these solar panels are, and then there's this that solar parking lot or whatever, and then there's this thing. It's 100 feet across, and I don't know, that could open up to an underground facility potentially. I don't know.
Wow.
Again, this is all stuff. And then this thing's really interesting. It's like an amphitheater, you know.
It looks like a giant kill box.
Yeah, it's like a giant, yeah, it's like a giant kill box, or, you know, testing bunkers. Look at all these bunkers that they have. What are they doing? Look at how this thing's. Is this like natural geology? Like, how did this get carved? I don't get it. I want to know. I want answers. Anyways, if you guys have any answers, or you know what this stuff is, please post in the description right now. And we're going to open this up in a little bit, because this is what I come up with just for my, you know, satellite reconnaissance, you know, overview of this thing. But back to this thing about this. What do you think about the Pyramid Cove? That there's a Pyramid Cove.
Well, that's pretty cool, actually.
I bet you there's like some symbolism there, some kind of connection. Now I understand why they use the pyramid word. I'm like, why didn't they? You know, I don't know. Another thing that came up before I want to hand it open and off to and open it up to people. We got 500 people watching. This is awesome. This is great, man. Thank you. I love you all. This is great. I'm hoping that we learned something about this technology. Actually, I want to get into some more of this before we get into before I open it up. We're going to talk about the sad and mysterious death of ufologist Mark McCandlish. Apparently, we learned that recently that it was a shotgun suicide that, you know, is the cause of death. We didn't know the exact cause of death, and apparently it was a shotgun blast to the head. The Shasta County Coroner's Office report cites the death as a suicide from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, but there are other people that have been close to Mark that have, you know, made comments on my videos about this, saying that they are questioning Mark's suicide and think that there's more to the story. I just want to dispel a couple rumors, though, because there are some theories that he was scheduled to testify before hearings about this, you know, this UAP task force and this report that's coming out. There's no evidence of that. There's no hearings. There's no evidence that there's any hearings at all. I'm not aware of that any hearings actually took place. I was under the impression, or pretty sure, that, you know, the response that I've seen is that, you know, our senators aren't interested in this in the slightest. It doesn't really mean much to them, and, you know, we're just wondering if it's a Pentagon psyop, or if, you know, why are they admitting to this now all of a sudden? It just doesn't seem, you know. seems out of character for them. And there's a lot of questions, I think, from all sides about what this report's going to entail and what's going to come out in the next month. But I think that a lot of these rumors that are being spread around are not true. There's no hearings that I'm aware. No one's being presenting information. And as far as I'm concerned, and APEC is concerned, the people that I've spoken to, we don't think that, this is a whole community of physicists and engineers that are working together to try to solve this problem openly of how these things fly and how these things work. And, Mark had some, interesting perspectives and some interesting information and whatnot that he shared all of with us openly, and has been around, sharing since the 90s, so it doesn't seem plausible, in my opinion, to speculate that he was, murdered, and or that the suicide was assisted in any way, or there was any foul play involved. And again, if anyone has information, they can contact the Reading Police Department, and maybe file FOIAs if people are interested in getting more information. They can pursue this, and I'd be happy to, if anyone knows Mark, let's open it up. I'm gonna post the StreamYard link. If you know Mark or you want to talk about this at all, we can jump on. There's the link. Let's be careful about sharing that. But anyways, yeah, the police department and the FBI. I guess I don't know if I trust the FBI, but let's talk a little bit about these this other technology, because we talked about these NASA programs and these balloons and stuff. And another videos we had talked about that Leak Marabou stuff, right? So this Leak Marabou guy was this NASA scientist that at Rensselaer Polytech did this whole idea of laser propelled craft, propelling craft around with lasers and riding on light rather than
Jeremiah
conventional.
talked to him, eh?
Oh yeah, dude, I need to find. I would love to get Jeremiah on to talk about that conversation. I haven't even talked to him yet about it. It was like last I talked to him, it was his birthday.
Oh, shit, he never told me that.
I'm gonna meet with Michael Schratt and go over these cases, and so that's coming. He just texted me. He said he's driving home and can't join us tonight. But we're going to be going over all those cases and stuff with Michael Schratt and digging into this in some real detail. He said he had 10 cases, and he said he dug up 4 more that can be of basically people seeing the same stuff in a UFO wave in the late 1960s. So it's possible that that again, these satellite communications are one thing, that they're launching these things up. These things go way into space, but they're not going in. The Pageo satellite and Project Echo are not going in and out of the water, right? That's the problem, right? So that obviously that can't explain these other things that are going on. But if you got a craft that uses these types of directed energy systems, where they can basically use directed lasers to vaporize the air or water in front of the craft, and then propel themselves from behind with laser beam pulses, these ionized pulses, then you have a whole future of possibilities that open up with new types of flight, and it can explain a lot of these things. Again, if they're drones that they don't have human pilots, it can explain the breakneck speeds of the hypersonic shock, and well, not just that, but turning it really fast at really sharp angles really quickly. Humans, they obviously can't be human pilots. So this is, again, within the realm of our normal understanding in physics study. But then if you dive deeper into the literature, beyond, so Lockheed Martin was involved in some of this stuff. They got these patents that he talks about in this article here on the drive. I keep referring back to this and invite people to go. I'm still trying to get Brett on, but I have a feeling that he's working on some big story that he's got to drop, and he doesn't want to. I know if he gets on with me, he'll drop too much information on it and get too much out. But I'm really trying to put some more pieces to the puzzle together on this. But Lockheed Martin, Bernard Haish was contracted out of Caltech, and he had written some papers with, I don't know if he got the idea specifically from Hal Puthoff, but Hal Puthoff and Bernard Haish and a lot of these other guys, that's when Alcubierre wrote the first warp drive, theory paper in 1994. And then shortly after that, they started, these other physicists started jumping in and writing papers on similar theories of what inertia is, and inertia from the quantum vacuum and Unruh radiation, and this whole idea of, so you'll find all this stuff on God theory when you look them up and find it. But this is his curriculum vitae is what you want. This go to publications, and he wrote a bunch of papers for, and did a bunch of research for Lockheed Martin on all this, idea of it's a step beyond the laser technology. And I think one of the best and most useful things, the Tic-tac is a good shape, but these balloons might also, and spheres are also going to be a good shape to test this stuff out on. And I wouldn't be surprised if we really start digging into some of these, hangar projects. That seems to be a key connection that I've made. Might not be the ultimate connection. It might be something else, but these balloon technologies, again, they asked T.D. Barnes about this. T.D. Barnes was the base commander, an engineer commander at Area 51. They asked him about the Tic-tac. You can find that. So when, I don't know if you can find it anymore. It might be hidden so well, but you find, this is the guy. This is what he looks like right here. And the best one that I've seen is his interview on what is the guy's name now? The Hidden Truth Show. That's what it's called. It's called The Hidden Truth Show. So if you go to Hidden Truth Show and search for T.D. Barnes, there it is. Here's the interview. So I'll post this in the description. I don't know if we're going to play it, but I'll post this in the description and let people go and check this out. But T.D. Barnes basically says that with Jim Breslow, he was interviewed and asked what the Tic-tac was, and he mentions Project Palladium and Project Nemesis. And these are balloon projects, and they're counter war projects. So they're able to basically spoof radar. They can, and this stuff's all set up apparently on San Clemente Island, and they have with a phased array system set up with station points all over this harbor, according to some of the people that I've talked to and some of the sources that I've accumulated. I can't really get a definite on that because I haven't found the actual radar stations. There's a couple of them on the peaks of the mountaintops on these islands, like this one right here. That's not really like the kind of equipment I would expect for this, to really confirm. I haven't found the location for like the array. We were looking for it the other day, but he was too tired, so he fell asleep. But anyways, they had this array, and they're able to spoof the radar, and they're able to spoof these images. And this is the article right here. It's called U.S. Navy Laser Creates Plasma UFOs, and this research was done at where's the stuff about where this research was done? I was digging into it earlier. I gotta find this, but the lab that was involved and the person that was involved in this technology to fake these Tic-tac encounters was actually Hal Puthoff. So this kind of like goes into the whole theory that, you know, this is a psyop, and that, you know, I don't know, it just goes back and forth. These Pentagon scientists are making talking plasma laser balls for use as non-lethal weapons. And Hal Puthoff was one of the guys who worked on this. And this to me was a huge aha, because it explains Skinwalker Ranch and all the weird stuff that went on at Skinwalker Ranch when you realize, oh wow, they have this technology and this kind of stuff going on. That would certainly explain Skinwalker Ranch and what's going on out there at, you know, in Utah. And then to find Hal Puthoff involved, but it really makes me lose hope, because it's like, well, what if? But he wrote all those papers and did all this research too with Bernard Haish and Lockheed Martin and all this stuff on, you know, how UFOs actually fly, you know. So like, I'm hoping out for, you know, this stuff's obviously real, but is that other stuff real? Or is that the psyop? And is this, you know, just all a big psyop, and it's really just plasma ball technology and fake out technology, you know, with creating hallucinations and holograms, man. Anyways, we're going to open this up and get some other people on to see what they have to say and what they think.
If it was, for what purpose? That'd be the outcome, right? If they're making holographs and stuff of these kind of craft for people to see, what would be the purpose of it? I don't think there wouldn't. I think they're just kind of using that little tidbit to kind of like fake out the audience and make them believe in such a thing.
You think, because that would make a lot of sense, you know, that they'd fake this, they'd use this technology to fake it, and then, yeah, I don't know, man. I'd love to think that we have a bunch of hangars full of Tic-tacs, and where we actually have this technology and we're working on it. But then I see stuff like this, and it's just like, man, you know, this whole is the art of war. It's all about misdirection too. So it's.
We'll have to play by ear.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Bernard.
Hey, guys. I was just going to type in the chat. Mark McCandlish was actually talking right before his death about a hangar out in California where supposedly the Tic-tacs were flying at it. He said there was some truckers driving on, I think it was I-7 or something like that. And they used to see Tic-tacs flying out of this area in Central California.
I-7. It was I-7. You're sure about that?
I'm not sure about that. No, I'm not sure about that. This is the Los Angeles area that you're looking at right now, right? It wasn't in Los Angeles. It was more like in Central California.
Well, he's from Reading. But yeah, I need more information than that, Mark. Unfortunately, I'm not going to sit here and go on like let's search all of Central California for hangars. That's like I literally already spent the other night till like 4 in the morning, you know, surfing this area to find all that stuff that I just showed and went over. So I want to summarize it as much as possible for people and have stuff ready. But yeah, I'd like to. It's an interesting lead. I don't know where I-7 is, or Route 7. I have to get someone local to California who knows it. And anyways, yeah, if anyone has any sightings or any information to share, please join and get on with us. Here's the link to join in the chat. Any ideas on what these tic-tacs could be? We were watching a bunch of videos and talking about a whole bunch of other theories.
I mean, if we're seeing them every day, it's much more likely that they're ours, not necessarily our governments, but military-industrial complex, man-made.
Indeed. Well, the other thing it's said about these blimps that this company makes, right, is that some of them are control blimps for UAVs and drones. So they might be a platform that controls drones and has, like, you know...
I don't know about the whole drone theory. Main issue is how fast they were traveling. Whether there's drones or whether there's pilots on board, it wouldn't make a difference. We don't even have electronics that can withstand 600 Gs of turning force. Change in acceleration at 600 Gs will break any piece of electronics we own. So even if there wasn't a pilot, you couldn't build something like that.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess maybe yeah. Like, that's like basically like smashing into a brick wall. So most electronics will not withstand a smash into a brick wall.
600 Gs is a lot more than smashing into a brick wall. All right.
So the idea is that goes back to, so if it really does that and that's real and it's not, like, because we could certainly explain that, right, with if it's a talking plasma laser ball that the Pentagon's been working on for these non-lethal weapons, that would certainly explain why it can make those turns, right?
If it had no weight to it, but
if it's just a plasma ball, they were just projecting it, then it would,
I mean, if they're projecting it, then yeah, there's no reason why it would be able to move at any speed. But then, I don't know, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, so it could be a projection, or either that or this technology for, basically warping the space-time and the ether is real, and that it's some sort of new alternative technology, and that's why we have APEC to bring minds together to discuss those ideas for what kind of, what the future of technology might look like, and based on,
Jeremiah, you've been around the block a few times. Do you think this is real disclosure now? Think this is for real?
Armando?
Hi, gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, man?
I just had a quick comment, because what you're talking about with lasers and plasmas, it reminds me of what John Burroughs was talking about in his last book. I heard an interview last year with him, with Jimmy Church, and he's saying the military was shooting lasers at the sky in Rendlesham and provoking a response from this phenomenon in the form of plasmas that are like living intelligences. It was affecting their consciousness. I just think no one's really been interviewing John Burroughs. I'd like to read his book myself, because he did a lot of research into this technology. It could be related to psychological warfare, or just, some maybe laser propulsion like you're talking about, but it had something to do with the locale of the forest itself being haunted or paranormal. The lasers were creating a response from the phenomenon. They were interacting with it with lasers. So I think his hypothesis is similar to what you were kind of talking about there. I just wanted to bring that up.
Interesting. I haven't heard of this John Burroughs. How do you spell his last name? And
well, I think it's Burroughs, but he's pretty famous because he's one of the main witnesses of the Rendlesham Forest UFO incident. Yeah,
this is that guy.
So maybe talk to him or just look at his book, and there might be some interesting leads there to follow. Just wanted to throw that out there. That's it.
Yeah, man, because it reminds me that Rendlesham Forest case was always interesting, and also the Minot Air Force Base, Minot Air Force Base incident.
No.
That's the one where they shot the UFO came in and shut down the in 1968. And it was at Minot Air Force Base at one of the nuclear silos in North Dakota. And they literally came down, this UFO came down and shot a laser into like the bunker and shut down one of our nuclear warheads.
Oh, yeah.
Around, in the morning. And they had, it was there was only a couple people on duty and stuff, and they had to send in backups. And yeah, they found this thing was like it disabled the warhead. And apparently around the same time in 1968, like at the same exact time, they later found out after the Cold War that the Russians had an incident where a UFO came and shut down one of their nukes and put their, it actually didn't shut down their nukes. What it did to the Russians, so one of ours, it shut it down and shot a laser into it and shut it down. And what it did in the Russian one, where I gotta find the Russian case, and around the same time, so it was 1968, and it was I gotta find it. It was this case where basically all their nukes went into armed and ready mode. They were like ready to launch, and there was a countdown for them to launch. And they were like, what do you do? And how do we, they were all like panicking, thinking that the whole world was going to go into nuclear war as soon as these things launched.
So Jacques Vallée's new book is all about the link with the nuclear age and this phenomenon having a close relationship to it.
Yeah, they showed up to make sure we don't kill ourselves. That's like basically it. And they had the Russians go into this like panic mode, and then at the last minute they shut everything down and
so Jacques Vallée's hypothesis is that these craft don't crash. They're too sophisticated to be crashing. They're gifting technology to us, or they're showing the example of the next generation of technology that's going to benefit us. And that there's a learning process going on.
Do you think they'd teach us and like literally just crash and like show us the stuff? Because there's theories that that of course the church and the church would have confiscated any artifact or relic that had been appeared over time and hid it in the vaults beneath the Vatican. There's all these rumors about the vaults beneath the Vatican, and the whole idea that thousands of years these people have been in control, and literally anything that came outside and would have questioned the official faith or stigma would have been quickly locked away and hidden, by such an organization. So they have that, which rules pretty much the rest of the world. So that
they've been coming out recently. There was several articles about the Vatican starting to talk about aliens and how it doesn't contradict Christianity. They're getting ready for something.
I wonder. I really hope that this is disclosure that's coming out. I just have a feeling, my gut feeling and my gut instinct is that this is not disclosure, and that what they're doing right now is that they're hyping a lot of stuff up with their people. And that it's basically going to be a hype show, and then they're going to let everyone down with this. Like this report's going to be it's going to be a big letdown, and they're going to. I don't know. That's my whole theory on it is that this stuff is they're hyping it up.
Obama came out the other day and said that UFOs are real.
I know. I saw that like interview that Obama did, and
Yeah, didn't Biden like retaliate to that comment? Like he just walked off stage.
Again, this is all. It's all to put up this whole thing about UFOs and being about these craft and chasing these videos. It's all about the videos and the UFO videos and people watching UFO videos and watching videos of this stuff. And there's very little discussion on the future, the technology, any of that, the real like nuts and bolts stuff. That's just.
Can I throw something else out here before I leave the chat?
Yeah.
So, the Edgar Mitchell Foundation, the free organization, I forget what that acronym stands for, but they did that massive survey of experiencers and abductees. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they apparently a significant amount of experiencers, they're getting scientific and mathematical information by interacting with the phenomenon. And what it reminds me of is how you guys as engineers, scientists, I think you're interested in Tesla, maybe in Edison, and those guys, like Tesla used dreams, Edison used the hypnagogic state as sources of inspiration. I think Edison would hold an object in his hand and he would drift off in his chair, and when he dropped the object, it would wake him up to prevent him from getting into a deep sleep. And that was his method of inventing. So I just think that could be an interesting area for you guys to explore, is experiencers are getting information, but maybe altered states of consciousness, I don't know, could be a way to break through with new physics concepts.
Oh yeah, Jeremiah did that actually, and he thinks he contacted the essence of Tesla. And,
where is Jeremiah, man?
Yeah, I'm trying to get him on. Oh, and talking about Tesla, we're actually going to be at Tesla Tech this year. Jeremy, did you get the?
I just saw Daniel Nunes, and then he left. Man, I was just about to click on him and add him, and then he disappeared. Too bad.
Yeah, we're going to Tesla Tech this year. Jeremy, are you going to fly into Albuquerque?
I might drive out. I don't know if I can. If I'm going to fly, we'll see.
It's a 5-hour flight. I don't know how long it would take in your truck.
Oh no, I was going to use my Tic-tac. I can get there in like 20 minutes.
Okay, guys, I'm going to leave your chat, but John Burroughs' book, it's called Weaponization of UAP. I think there could be some interesting hypotheses in there, so I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. I'll check that out, man, and make sure you post that in the private chat too, so we can link to that, and I'll post that in the description later, man. Thank you, Armando. Daniel, what's going on? What do we? Oh, Daniel's got some cool stuff he's showing off. Let's give him the lay. Let's give. Oh yes, oh yes.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
I am great, man. This is good. Talk to me. What do you got? Some rodent coil action. You got 3 different color wires.
We've got a PoE advanced vortex coil. We definitely learned a lot from Marco. Changed up some things about the design here, but what you're looking at is 3 different conductors. The power is going across the green leads here, and you have just one input source. So the input source is right here, and you have those going into 2 open wires. So the outputs are left open, and yet the 3rd lead, you have a steady power going across it. So I'm looking at the input power against the output power there. And you see that the spike is pretty much right on par. So the output intensity is just greater. We're using a 20-volt peak-to-peak signal, and the magnetic field is very large. The electric field, electric field.
So
radio waves.
We got to get Jeremiah on here because he's developed like a whole method to scan to scan over all the frequencies to make sure you're not doing. It's not just a buck boost converter, and you're not just converting one frequency to another.
I think what you're referring
the idea is
if you play around with the waveforms, it can make it seem like it's creating more energy because the voltage would rise. But if you're not starting off with a pure sine and ending with a pure sine, then you can confuse a watt meter, which assumes that it's a pure sine.
Yeah, so you can use a sine, you can switch it to sine, square, or sawtooth. The sine is just a little bit less intense here. I'll go ahead and turn the light off.
Well, you got to
So
scan
you
over a
guys
bunch
can
of
see
different
this a little bit
frequencies
more
for the
clearly.
input. You got to have like the input and know all the different
Yeah,
frequencies.
sure. So
It's
so
a
the
single frequency, right?
frequency here we're looking at, if we dial, it's a very finicky. So if you go ahead and just get out just by a few, just by a little bit, you see here it dials off the resonance. So we're at 181 kilohertz. If we dial back up to 193, you can see it's pretty linear. And look,
Have you stacked
it's
like,
stable.
have you stacked two of those coils on top of each other before?
This particular design is the first one that we've made so far with the trifilar design. And no,
How
I
long did
have
that
not.
take you to make?
So we were basically, this took, weeks, a couple of weeks. And,
At least.
you know, it's a very delicate process because these little teeth formers like to break and stuff like that. So we put a lot of love into it. But yeah, we're basically experimenting with the idea that, you know, we're looking at like the concept of what Walter Russell was doing with like a bifilar design, energy going in reverse directions. And we're just harvesting that energy. So as you can see here, if I take this out, there's the open pin. So if the energy is going into the red, the open pin, the adjacent red on the opposite side, has the power. So it'll ground out even to my body.
Wow.
Which is fascinating because high voltage. This is what high voltage does. We're looking at a 20 volt peak to peak input and a stable 60 volts going across the output to light this up. So I just wanted to share that with everybody because I think this is a pretty fascinating approach to how we transfer energy. And I just taking a look at the current, there's no current drop. If I go ahead and plug this in across this third wire again, what we're actually seeing is that the current goes up slightly by the output. So we're looking at 0.08 amps going in, and across this lead is 0.010. So, yeah, just wanted to share that with everybody. I think, we definitely were inspired by alien scientists video. There was a plasma propulsion video that was posted years ago, and we went ahead and made a coil around a plasma, a donut. We were hoping that the thing would levitate off of the table or something like that. That totally did not happen. However, we did learn that there are different ways to excite these kind of coils, and you can even get them to glow in the dark with a type of plasma aura that surrounds the coil when it's in this kind of resonance, basically just with an amplified source. So a lot of interesting things here. Just wanted to share that with everybody, hoping that it adds to the knowledge base of the community.
Yeah, if you stack two of those on top of each other, I think you might get some pretty cool effects out of it.
Magnetic induction.
Sure. I would imagine so. Stacking two of the regular designs like these guys, what we find is that between the two stacked coils, you have an expansion disc that comes out. as a basically it's a larger expansion disk by having the two fields interacting with each other. Again, just touching back with like the Walter Russell concept of spinning, reverse spinning energies and how they interact with each other when you hit right frequencies.
I gotcha.
Wow.
So we do have a bunch of other units that we've made.
Ooh, that's cool.
Wow.
I like that.
So yeah, you could get very creative with I wouldn't even begin to bore everyone with how many there are very many, but like I said, this is pretty much the most fascinating one that we've come to date. In other words, these guys over time we were doing the same kind of resonance and finding that these conductors were arcing to each other, and it basically made the coil short-lived for these kind of experiments. This one is just very stable.
Have you considered potting them? Epoxy?
Sure, it you could definitely do that. It doesn't affect it does not affect the behavior of the coil. So
but for
here's an
longevity.
epoxy.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
That. Is that attached to a USB?
Oh yeah, so we tried. This is a little prototype that we're testing and ramping up for production here shortly, and just kicking it around, seeing how durable it is. But yeah, you could power this guy with your phone output. In most cases now the phones come with the USB-C, so you could do a converter on it, and it powers up a little amplifier inside of the box that allows you to pulse the coil. But people are finding that because these coils are producing such a large magnetic field per watt that goes into them, they could be applied for PEMF type therapies and things of that nature. But we've always been very excited with the energy production aspect of it, and how it how we could change up the fundamentals of what we're doing if we keep on bogging down the primary conductor and expecting that the secondary conductor is not going to overheat. This is probably the reason why most of the systems are behaving in a linear fashion. We have to change up the way that we think about resonance and how to step up the power, and in that way we can start maybe scratching the surface of some of these exotic technologies.
Right on, man. Aircraft, I saw you joined, and do you have anything to add to the discussion, my friend?
Yeah. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I was calling, I joined in because I heard you talking earlier about anybody who's familiar with the area of the map that you were looking through, and San Clemente Island and that whole San Clemente area. I grew up down there, and I'm like currently I live near Hermosa Beach. And about 2010. Now I'm not a science, like I'm fascinated with science, but I'm not nearly as in depth as all you guys. But I follow a lot of scientists, and I'm just I try and stay up to date with what's going on, but I'm not super, on top of it like you guys are. You guys have a way better understanding of this stuff. But I have witnessed a lot of things. I started a drone business myself back in 2010. This is like before people started really using them. Really, most people didn't even know what they were. Those multi-rotor helicopter things. I used them for production. So when I first started this business, I needed to learn this camera, and I took it everywhere with me. And one of the things I like to do was go down to the beach at Hermosa Beach, set up a tripod, and I would set the camera out, and I would take long exposure pictures of the stars at night. And I was like fascinated with that. And I did that for a long time. Like I would stay out there on the beach by myself taking pictures, and I noticed after a while there was some really strange activity happening over the water, literally just off the coast. And if you didn't know what you were looking at, like if you didn't think about it, you would think that these are just airplanes flying around. But then when you really think about it, they're way too low to the water to actually be like airplanes. Like, because you have the LAX right there. The planes take off right over the ocean, and then they kind of take off and go. But these things that I was seeing out there, and I have tons and tons of pictures. I've got time lapse photos. You can see these patterns that they fly in. And they were just going all night long. They're 1, 2, 3 would fly out from what looked like kind of like near like where the planes were taking off, but they would come out and they would hover over the ocean just off the coast in a triangular pattern, like in a triangular shape, and then they would all rotate as one unit, and then one of them would break away and fly down the coast, and then a new one would come out and join them, and then they would do the same thing, rotate, and then one would break off and float away. And this is I've witnessed. Like, I can't even. For the longest time, I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want to sound like I was crazy. And now I'm finally, like, the few people that I did tell are finally like calling me up and saying, "Hey, dude, did you watch the news? I guess you were telling the truth, you know." Anyway, I just wanted to add that. And if you have any questions about San Clemente or Camp Pendleton, I can tell you a little bit that I know.
Right on. Man, thanks for joining. You don't have a YouTube channel that people can go check you out? Do you have I was like gonna say, you got predictions of you making a video of you making these predictions, like like.
Honestly, I didn't want to. Well, I forgot to mention one other thing that I noticed. I have some really strange at the time that I was taking all these pictures. I just didn't know who to share them with because I didn't want anybody to think I was crazy. I shared them with some friends. My friends didn't really seem to have much, because the crazy thing is you can get the clearest picture of these things, and I have lots of them, and you still can't tell what they are. Like, you could get a perfectly clear image of what this thing is, and there's nothing to compare it to. They look like little. The thing is, like, no matter how steady the camera was, I would take a picture. Sometimes I would set the camera for a little bit slower shutter, take a picture, and these things would come out looking like a little squiggly line, even though the camera was perfectly steady, perfectly still, no shaking at all. I had a remote trigger, and I would snap pictures of these things flying out, and I don't have anything online right now, but I can definitely submit them to you if you're interested in seeing them. But then one particular afternoon, I was down taking
You can do a
pictures.
screen share, man.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm sitting in my car right now, so.
Too bad. No, it's all right. We'll do it another time. You just have to send them to me, and we'll cover it on the next show.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
If anyone has pictures or stories or any kind of videos or anything like that, send it to me, man. Please, that would be great. I would love to be the guy to break some new like videos or pictures of this stuff, because I know there's people from these areas that are. These things like Irvine, California. I showed those big hangars, man. There's all kinds of buildings and businesses between that and the ocean.
I grew up right next to those hangars, right in Woodbridge in Irvine, which is right next to Tustin, which is where those two hangars are. Those big giant blimp hangars.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, and they're still there. It's fascinating. They've built There used to be orange groves all around them when I was growing up, and now it's all been bought over and filled in with businesses and industrial complexes and stuff like that.
Yeah, wow.
The hangars are still there, preserved, and I hope they keep them there because they're fascinating to look at.
Yeah, they are. Well, man, yeah, we'll have to post those pictures later and stuff. Anybody else have anything to add? We're gonna have to do a follow-up show on this and talk more about the Tic-tac. Is that the Mark McCandlish coil thing now?
Oh, yeah. So Jeremiah asked me to make him a bobbin for a coil that he plans to build. Basically, the design that I came up with is like this. Basically, there's slots where you could insert these little plastic pieces in there, and we can wrap the coils around the plastic inserts. Basically have dimples for every single wire, and you're able to space them exactly as far apart as you want it. It's going to be a 7-turn coil for every layer, and every single layer is going to be a separate coil. So there's going to be probably like 7 coils deep, and he plans to fire it sort of like a rail gun and we'll make really powerful impulses coming out this way. Also understand that this is just the exterior of the coil. We're going to pour epoxy on top of it, and then all this comes apart. That's why it's made with bolts, and it's all removable. So this is just going to be a bobbin that's going to hold the coil in place while we pour epoxy on it and while we build it. And he hopes that if we put a spinning disc in the center with high voltage, it'll create some sort of effect. Tried to explain it to me. I couldn't really understand, but I built the thing. So we'll see what happens with that. We also have a couple other things going on here at the lab. We set up a miter saw here for cutting metal, and that thing is scary to operate. We're also looking to get a CNC machine for the lab, and they're actually getting pretty hard to find nowadays. Like, you want to buy them new, it's over a month and a half out.
That's an ingenious approach to wrapping the coils. Indeed, Esoteric Gold threw out $10 for that, man. Yeah. I must say that is quite a. Did you think of that? Did you come up with that on your own?
Yeah, it's a pretty. Jeremiah thought of this, adding the Lazy Susan bearing here to make it easier to turn. So this will be attached to a, I don't know, block of wood or something like that. And they could just turn around that way. And it basically makes the bobbin building device reusable, because you can just put in new inserts and, separate the wires.
You can make a ton of like identical coils. That'd be great.
Exactly.
Yeah, that way if we get a successful test, we can just send these to like every lab in the country and be like, no, this is how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Use our coil.
I could send out the file and have them
mass produce them. We'll sell them for $1,000 a piece.
If anyone knows of a good CNC mill, we're looking for like 4 or 5 axes for sale. We got funding, I can't find one. There's almost nothing available on the market. So we're looking for a nice CNC mill, almost new, if not brand new, that we could bring down here to the lab. And
we should get John Hutchison out to Tesla Tech. We've talked to Hutchison, and maybe get him on the show at some point. And I know that Tim has talked to him and has been in discussion about getting him to come on as a guest. So we can
talk to John here in about a month to a month and a half on the Guru platform.
Oh, nice, dude. I got some cool people that I'm hoping to talk to. There's been discussions going on with a lot of big players in the scientific community about UFOs and getting this discussions going on. So,
you just reminded me of something really cool. Jeremy, the latest TV show that came out of Gaia, it's called Deep Space Season 3, and it starts talking about the technology. And who do you think they have there? They're all APEC members.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much everyone they have on the show there is from APEC, including Jack Sarfati. And he recounts his story when he was a kid and they called him up. And he said it with a straight face. It's hilarious. You got to watch that.
Oh, on Gaia, like, yeah,
Deep Space.
Those guys eat that stuff up.
Episode 1, yeah, they got all.
You've seen the latest from Jack? I showed this the other day.
The thing is that using, in fact, this is something that Hal Putoff actually asked me about in a private email. Could you do levitation? Could you actually make like an Iron Man suit out of metamaterial with a battery pack, in which it's anti-gravity, and so you have like flying infantry, like the Valkyria, and that's all possible. And you could have a tank that's totally.
Oh yeah, I mean, the proof of concept is the actual metamaterial lifting for anti-gravity. I hate to use that term.
Iron Man
suits.
It's
real anti-gravity.
It's real anti-gravity. And we've solved the anti-gravity problem using small amounts of energy. That's the big message that I'm trying to communicate to people.
All right, to switch topics,
You mentioned he has a team working on it in Europe.
Using the metamaterial fuselage of this UAP,
Yeah, the
you can pump it in such
Italians
a way as to
apparently.
create a barrier so that nothing can get through the barrier, but the mechanisms inside the ship can shoot out gunfire or missile fire, whatever you want to do. Missiles cannot get in, but we can shoot outside.
Right.
It's a one-way membrane.
Yeah, yeah. You can shoot objects or energy out
out of the thing, but
nothing can get in.
but nothing can get in.
Oh, yeah.
And this is I actually have the equations for that, and it's something that really has to be considered, and that would be that in itself would be a game changer.
Yeah.
Another thing is that using, in fact, this is something that Hal Portoff actually asked me about in the private email. Could you do levitation? Could you actually make like an Iron Man suit out of metamaterial with a battery?
Yeah, so there it is. So, but yeah, the that very interesting what he has to say about this stuff. And of course, Jack had come on APEC. These guys are now going on this stuff's only going to get bigger, and I'm really hoping that these ideas take off and take a deeper root in the mainstream scientific community about,
Most importantly, the technology needs to be out there.
Yeah, there's so much technology that people aren't aware of, that the public isn't even aware of, that and then it's up to us to find the relative experts, to interview them, and then put it all together in an hour long or 2 hour long, and even that's too long. We need to set it up in ways that I can put it into a 10-20 minute video and really break this stuff down. That's the next step, I think.
Jeremy, do you think you're going to make it to Tesla Tech?
Yeah, I'm going to be there regardless. That's what I said. I got to see what the deal is.
They gave me a slot to speak. It's on Friday the 13th at 1300 hours, 1 p.m. on Friday. I posted a link in the private chat over here for the Tesla Tech brochure. Show everyone who's showing up. We got Paul Price talking about gravitational propulsion. Something you were talking about the other day about spinning light. We got David Puchta, proton spin technology, research and demonstration.
Yeah. So Ivy asked me what I thought about Lou Elizondo. He talked recently about the possible physics behind the triangle and the tic-tacs. I think that I haven't seen that. I don't know what he said, but I think that I think that he should check out APEC and listen to what the top scientists that we're talking to are saying about this, because
he apparently flew into Huntsville at one point to meet with the Institute for Exotic Science.
Yeah,
the Eskridges and some other people, and he's not really well briefed on the science itself. And I'm sure, even if we briefed him, he probably wouldn't retain it. He's not really that kind of science geek head.
Yeah, no, he's not a head like that. So he definitely understands some of the other stuff, the military stuff, but I don't think the thing I thought was interesting about Lou Elizondo is he said that the guy that briefed him on the program, when they brought him into the program, right, is that he said the guy who briefed him on it was a theoretical physicist. He said he was your quintessential theoretical physicist, like this, like your Bob Lazar, basically. He almost described Bob Lazar. Which is funny because it's like, come on, Bob Lazar he's an actor playing a part, and he did a real good job, I feel. But I don't know that he's who he says he is. But Yeah, I just think that Lou Elizondo is Lou Elizondo is who he says he is, but when he starts, trusting his opinion and what he has to say about the physics, it's like, no, listen to what the scientists are saying and listen to what the physicists are saying. There's a lot of different people with a lot of different ideas, and I think right now all those cards are on the table or are in play until someone cracks the code and shows how it's done and really like proves it. That's how I feel about how where we're at right now, realistically, in the scheme of things. Because right now we have a bunch of sightings and a whole bunch of hope for aliens and alien technology, right? But at the end of the day, man, wouldn't it suck if it was just friggin' plasma balls, talking plasma balls?
I don't know. I think it's very unlikely that that's the direction they're going in. There's too much momentum pushing already in the direction of aliens and extraterrestrials and flat out disclosure. What do you think of Stephen Greer's idea, the false flag operation, that they're trying to make a spin on it and monetize the military industrial complex?
Now, first off, that's not Stephen Greer's idea. That idea came from Werner von Braun originally, and it came through, Carol Rawson, and who was a Disclosure Project witness.
Thank you. I'm just saying he's the guy who screams it out all day right now.
Yes, but he's the one. He's because he's realizing now that there are a few of those witnesses that he had at Disclosure Project that really had the right connections and knew and were in the know about stuff and making real disclosure. And then there was a lot of other people who were, I don't know. There's a lot of other people that I don't think I find as credible, is all I'm going to say. Carol Rawson is one of the few that I did find very credible. I remember a lot of other people didn't really find her credible and thought that I was ridiculous for reposting her and especially that whole idea. And a lot of people have talked, I bring that idea up and I still keep it as a possible card on the table of, faked alien invasion and that maybe they're prepping us for something like that. I'm hoping that, by us talking about it and just bringing awareness to that and keeping that card on the table prevents them from being able to play it. That's why I keep it on the table, and why I keep, saying that, don't never say never, because, until like they could pull something like this off if they had enough of these things and they did it right. They could literally convince people that there were aliens out there and that they were,
attacking us. Therefore, we need to spend more money on defense.
The fact that people will do zero research and just listen to what journalists and the media and the television tells them to do in every single case, like, it's proven. Like I feel like right now they could do it and get it. Like there would be very few people like us that would actually be aware of these technologies enough to kind of like be like, hey, listen, guys, joke's on you. Everyone else would be like, dude, I saw Jesus. He was in the clouds. I saw Allah, whatever the sighting was, or I saw these UFOs. I saw that, it was definitely aliens, and I saw that, I just think about this, like it could happen, man. You never say never, but again, yeah, I don't know. Dr. Greer and Disclosure Project kind of let me down with Orion Project really let me down. That was the big letdown because and he was the wrong guy for the job. He was a country doctor and not really, streetwise on the science and all the nonsense out there and how to weed through it.
But for $1,000, you can go with him and Demi Lovato out into the desert and meditate, and you'll see some
Demi Lovato.
You'll see some satellites.
I'll go for $1,000. I'll go with Demi Lovato.
I think that one was sold out already.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, probably those were like $10,000 a ticket, man.
Yeah, you can only get disclosure if you have, $1,000 per ticket.
Really, it's like $1,000 to go see Demi Lovato front row. Never mind go out, for a CE5 expedition in the desert with her and Dr. Greer. But yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, Demi Lovato recently came out as like, yeah, she's interested in going out, and she's a singer, and you old people wouldn't understand. But yeah, there's new Hollywood celebrities, coming out to popularize them, so to ride the popularity train of UFOs. Right? That's what's going on, right?
I don't know who was getting more from that. Was it Stephen Greer or Demi Lovato? Like, who was gaining more? But apparently these CE5s that he has are pretty small groups, like 10, 15 people tops. Oh, by the way,
Listen, I'd rather
is up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's in the high mountains, and it's happening right at the peak of the Leonid meteor shower. So we're going to have some pretty cool UFOs, as in meteors.
Hey, I'd rather listen to Demi Lovato than Tom DeLonge. Oh man!
Yeah, what's up with all the singers?
What is up with Tom DeLonge anyway? Where's he been? Where's he at? Can we interview
Did you hear
him?
your song yet?
We got to get Tom on and be like, "What's up?" What happened?
You could sing him the "Hey Tom" song. Hey Tom, you were a rock
not
star.
ready. He was not ready for this field. I feel bad for him, man. He's so green. It was just like
they were using him. They were using him. Like,
totally, man.
Rock star. Let's shove some fake crap down his throat. And...
Yep, perfect useful idiot.
Yeah, he was the useful idiot, and he was the face of the organization.
Oh man, when he took off his friggin' punk rock star clothes that are soaked in friggin' beer and band equipment, from the last 7 months on tour, and he put on that suit and tie and came out on stage. Like, I'm a businessman now. I was just like, oh god, this is not gonna go over well, man. And it didn't, man. That went bankrupt, and then the other guys bailed on him, and they're back on their own. Lou's doing his own thing, and then Chris Mellon's doing his own thing, and Steve Justice went and joined up with Branson. He's with Richard Branson and Virgin Galactic right now.
I heard they're selling flights starting this summer.
Really?
Well, yeah, they just had their what was it, third trial flight the other day that they successfully flew their ship.
Yep.
They're getting very close to commercialization of that concept. It's, what is it, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes of weightlessness?
Yeah, something like that. It's pretty short.
That's enough to whip up a good vaccine.
All right. So we got a video of this. Let's find the video. I want to watch the video.
Yeah, they have a video of it. I mean, you're only up there for a few minutes at weightlessness.
So this is the new video on Virgin Galactic.
And they're going to be charging you a few, well, I don't know what the price is, but, 100, 200 grand or whatever it is for the flight. So I guess
only 200 grand.
Right,
cool.
Exactly. If you got the money to burn. Meanwhile, you can, pay $5,000 or whatever it is, 5 or 10 grand for the NASA, Vomit Comet, and you get the same effect, essentially, minus the view.
What?
It is pretty wild.
Where's the video? I want a better video.
Check. Go to YouTube. They posted it to YouTube the other day.
It's kind of showing this video. I just want to watch. Here's the watch. It's the first space flight. Let's watch this. All right, cool. We're watching
Letter
it.
to my grandchildren. My dad, your great-granddad, was an extraordinary man, full of wise words. He would often remind me that life is wonderful, and it is that simple truth which has driven me as I built businesses, raised my family, and embarked upon my many adventures. You're at the very start of life. It is an incredible gift, and it is there for the taking. It will deliver highs and lows, but by living it to the full, by always trying to do the right thing, by keeping a childlike sense of adventure, it will indeed be wonderful. I used to think of space as a destination, but I now realize it's a journey with some amazing milestones along the way. Your lives will be transformed by space, and it will give your generation the planetary perspective on which the future of humanity rests. That we're all in this together, fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. Today we pass the most significant of them all, as our beautiful VSS Unity, along with the hopes and dreams of so many, became the first spaceship built for regular passenger service to put humans into space.
Five, 3, 2, 1. Release, release, release. Fire, fire.
Seconds. Good control. $55 seconds. 58 seconds. Motor shutdown. Mach 2.8.
Right motor burn, everybody. We're going to space, Richard.
264,000 feet. Welcome to space, Unity.
The view is incredible. Check that out. We can see Mexico.
Just because they're in space, though, they're not actually in orbit, so you just fall right back down to Earth.
Exactly. Yep. You gotta go 17,000 miles per hour to be in orbit. Whole different ball game.
Yeah, that's actually, it's a lot more power to go into orbit than it is to get to space.
Yep. Exactly. Just going up straight isn't that hard. I mean, what did they say? They were only at 158,000 feet. I mean, X-15 back in the 60s already had done over 200,000. You know, so I mean, this is old technology. You know,
it is pretty much an X-15. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Being carried on the bottom of an airplane.
Yep.
Albeit, it's a specially built airplane, but it's basically an X-15 for with seats.
Yep, exactly.
Better landing gear, I guess, too.
Right.
Being landed on a skid.
Yeah, if you really look at the X-15 project, it was probably even more impressive than that thing, honestly. Because there's a lot of goals that
it was a lot more dangerous too. The X-15 was fraught with problems.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first of
I
its
wouldn't want to
type.
fly in one of those.
Yeah. I mean, they were demonstrating for the first time those technologies, but you got to give credit where credit's due, right?
Throughout the battle of the space race between the United States and Soviet Union, both unions experimented with remarkable and experimental technologies in the pursuit of the data and wisdom required to conquer this new frontier. The task of gathering this data itself was a tremendous challenge that required new aircraft capable of reaching the edge of space and pushing the boundaries of human understanding. One plane that stands out during the ascent of the space race was the X-15, a plane designed to be the first to break into the hypersonic regime and climb past the Kármán line, 100 kilometers above the Earth's surface, and break into space. The plane would help NASA develop the materials needed to survive the intense heat of re-entry, the structures needed to ensure stability and control in the hypersonic flight regime, and the development of control mechanisms for the vacuum of space, while providing the impetus to
So what do
develop
we-
several new technologies.
What do we think happened here? I mean, this is such old technology, though. It's like,
Yeah, that was built during the 50s, late 50s.
yeah. So
mid-late
Richard
50s.
Branson's doing like 1950s like stuff,
Right. Yeah, exactly. He's just now commercializing it into like a public, roller coaster, right? It's
Right, so
adventure
this is-
tourism. That's all.
Yeah, it's just a roller
Look at the
coaster.
project that was supposed to come after X-15. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dinosaur, the X-20 that was slated and then got defunded halfway through as they started building it.
Oh yeah, this is the Dinosaur.
Yeah, that was going to be pretty impressive. It was supposed to be an atmospheric hopper, where it would be able to, essentially deliver a payload anywhere in the world within, an hour or two.
The other interesting thing was all these stealth blimps. So blimps, right? So all the U.S. Navy blimps, right, went out, and then they they had these A through H class,
Right.
dirigible ships and stuff, and then these all like disappeared, and I don't know. They must have had something to replace all these things with, and I'm thinking that they started doing them with, Arion Corporation was one that we found. They had developed a number of stealth blimps.
Yeah, what you were talking about earlier, Jeremy, you were pretty on point with everything. That was a good little dive into the topic for sure.
I thought so. I was trying to, still trying to pull this all apart, because we have, people talking about balloons and thinking it's balloon technology, and then I found that connection, and I just wanted to follow it down the rabbit hole, you know what I mean? See, because it's a big world, and there's a lot of stuff that's happened, a lot of stuff that's going on out there. So we investigate and do some, research, and we can find out some stuff on this that might be potentially, related. Because if I was going to test out, that Lake Marabou stuff, and it's hard to keep a blimp is a pretty steady target,
Right.
If it just sits there and floats, right? If you want something that you can shoot with,
Yeah, and they're similar to like the radar reflectors too that you were showing off. I mean, I think you posted some on Twitter and stuff the other day.
Well,
I mean, even the design. If you look up the U.S. patent design for the radar reflectors for the Navy, I think it is, and they show that typical cross-shaped object within a sphere.
Yep.
which is exactly what's being, reported in some cases.
Right. I wonder if there's a way to, again, like I thought about ways that I could fake crazy UFO sightings too, right? And if you had a nice balloon, like one of these balloons on a tether, right, that could, think of how fast you could pull a balloon on a tether if you had the tether, tied to something that would, retract it really, really, really fast. I just feel like you could pull a balloon and like if
Right,
you would,
right. And then also you can connect this to I mean, the Navy's been using dirigible. I mean, not just the Navy, but submarines specifically have been using dirigibles or balloon type, configurations where they will, stay under the water, and then, they might be whatever 10, 20, 30 meters down, but will allow the balloon or blimp to go up out of the water and then into the atmosphere to get a look for them, and then be able to scan, the local area.
again, it wouldn't have to spoof the radar if it gets towed really, really fast, then it would, technically be, it would show on the radar what it's doing,
Mm-hmm.
But they do have ECCM technology that could spoof the radar.
Yeah, easily. I mean, you can create as many false signals on a radar as you want. That's like that's 70s, late 70s technology.
Yeah.
Or, early 70s, they were already doing that stuff.
Insertion, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, and it goes even deeper than that too. I mean,
thank you, Lewis, for the $5 super chat, man. I think you're a pretty cool guy too. So, is a balloon that goes to sea level in 1 second at 35,000 miles per hour? Yeah, maybe we could do that. Think about something that retracts it. You float this thing up there really fast, and that would be a good test. I wonder. Let's do some FOIAs on what the experiments have been done.
Also, the thing too is that we don't have footage of any of that that's claimed in the video of any of these craft actually moving that fast. What they have is just the radar signals, and who knows if that's multiple craft out there, if it's like you're saying, or it could be this or tethering system. There's many different explanations that can be thought up of.
Right. So I know that the experiments with this tethering systems go back to the 40s, late 1940s. Again, Office of Naval Research with Project Skyhook, and they had these Skyhook balloons. I'm sure most everyone who's done a lot of research is familiar with this, but they'd float up these balloons, and they'd basically it was a way for a CIA agent to catch a flight out of a country in like the right situation, is they could float this balloon up with this, and then the airplane could come over and hook on to this and tether them out and pull them, and basically it's a bungee
this was
cord.
prior to Skyhook.
Yeah, this was Skyhook. This was like the original,
This was well, this is before it became Skyhook. This was the early versions of it, because then Skyhook was when they had the planes.
Right. Yeah, because they were doing, but it shows like they were doing lots of experiments with balloons and stuff back then. But this Skyhook thing is with the ability to hook onto it with an airplane, so that they could extract an agent from
I believe there's only a few times that's actually been used successfully. I believe one of them was an exfil out of China you can find, and I think also Iran, maybe. I really forget now. I mean, this is a long time ago. I read the documents that people had found from CIA from the fire request.
Right. It was one of the things I read about in old CIA stuff, but because it kind of sounds kind of cool. You float this balloon up, and the airplane comes and like hooks onto it and like whips you up and into the air. I thought, I thought it was another interesting thing, but that goes way back. That's way too early, and it's not as like you said, it's not it was never proved to be practical enough in an actual like situation to actually be used. You know, like very
Yeah.
often.
Exactly.
So, have to be the right situation, the right scenario, and you'd have to have access to all the right equipment.
Exactly. That was the big thing. It was having wherever these, agents were, they would have to have the equipment readily accessible. And generally, if you're, being parachuted into an area in which you're denied, you're not going to be able to easily just, get this equipment done.
All right. Yeah, I'm in Iran. Let me just and I'm the only white guy. Let me just go try to buy 100-foot bungee cord and
right, or even
a hot air balloon and some helium,
or even think of it where like you send people in, and then you have to mail in. They have to send in the materials, and then have to have people stationed there with these materials ready to go.
They drop the box with all the materials ready.
Right,
so
right,
and then give the
whenever
agent the
they
coordinates.
have to exfil an agent. Exactly. It's just there, and then you have to worry about, oh wait, these guys get caught with this stuff, etc., etc. And yeah,
Well, if you just pre-drop the box and you give them the dead drop, the location where it's dropped, that's like they're
but then you have to worry about other people finding the dead drop too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Chris Spaghetti there keeps saying Batman, like how they extracted that one Asian guy in China with the skyhook.
Oh, in the movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It was in that movie too. Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, this has been popularized in films, and but it comes from a real thing.
That is for sure.
This Fulton surface to air recovery system.
Yep, there you go. That's the one.
Yep, there's the guy getting. Oh, there we go. Here's this balloon.
Talk about a ride.
Okay. I know, huh? Oh, there was the balloon. What?
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, look at how simple the balloon is, right? I mean, a lot of military stuff at the end of the day has to be easily made. Has to be as cheap as possible. A lot of the times, and it has to capitalize on
Practicality and
existing technologies, existing manufacturing methods. Yeah, whole, just go down the list.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. So we're tracing this stuff back. I guess this is like,
a perfect example was the balloon project that you brought up earlier. That was the balloon with where they were using the CCDs from cell phone cameras, where you just make a mosaic out of you take 386 of those and you make a mosaic, and then boom, you essentially have a much bigger CCD essentially for way cheaper than if you were to actually manufacture a true CCD that size, which would be super expensive compared to
taking existing off-the-shelf technology and adapting.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep. So that's what we have to look for, is existing off-the-shelf technology that's been adapted. And that's why I say, like, hey, there's tons of these blimps and dirigibles. They're tic-tac shaped already.
But they're not.
Who knows if they're
not the same size, though.
You strap a jet engine to them, the small jet engines that have been made now.
There's a video from the 70s where they made a blimp that the size, like, the exact same shape of a UFO. And they were claiming that they could get higher speeds out of it.
Interesting.
And even, or just think about even strapping like propulsion systems to them. They do have lightweight propulsion systems. You can get them moving probably pretty quickly.
What is hyperblimp? What?
Kind of looks like a submarine, which brings to mind some of the rumors about the early secret space program was that they were taking the existing submarines from the Navy and adding the anti-gravity secret sauce to it and turning them straight into spaceships because they were like pretty much you have all your habitat in there already and it's pretty much ready to go. You just have to add the secret sauce, whatever that was.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is harder to go down in the ocean than it is to go up into space, so to speak, as far as pressures and things are concerned.
Yeah, you go down, 10 feet, you're already at one atmosphere of pressure.
Yeah, exactly. So
all the submarines are now like Tic-tacs. That's that's what's going on. All our submarines now fly out of the water and look like plasma balls.
Maybe that's what the Nazis were doing down in Antarctica. They were like converting their submarines into these cigar-shaped UFOs. Started colonies on the moon.
All right. Well, we just passed the 2-hour mark, and anyone have anything to add? I'm going to wrap this up before 2 hours and 15 minutes, and then we're going to just post the link and get everyone on open for private discussion.
Do you want to check out that link I posted in the private chat?
Yeah. Let's go and check out these links. Stream table.
Oh, also, maybe pull up the Tesla Tech lineup. There's a couple interesting speakers there.
I think it's Project Bluebeam.
This is a UFO over Switzerland.
Yep.
It looks like a tethered balloon.
Is it going to move?
It looks like a robed figure to me, but I don't know.
Looks like a what?
Like a robed figure. Like a Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's a Jesus.
Hey, Jeremy, I sent you a link there about the floating flying saucer balloon.
It's the Virgin Mary.
It's
definitely the Virgin Mary.
It's a really cool YouTube clip.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to check this one out next. Is this all it does, man? It's got to be
that's
like...
all it does. I looked at it earlier.
Yeah.
Just the Virgin Mary balloon.
It's repeating itself, yeah.
Dang Virgin Mary balloon.
At
Debunked.
Covington,
No.
thoughts have always been a magnificent flying machine. The old sheds which once housed airships still stand, but with a new, unusual cannon.
Ooh.
The first identified flying object is no monster, and it certainly isn't a toy. The Skyship is a serious and practical attempt to solve the problem of fast but safe transport. Its designer, John West, considers the 30-foot saucer has untold possibilities. But this all-British prototype will be a mere flea beside the Skyship he hopes to build, first an intermediate model of 200 feet, and then a jumbo of 700 feet diameter, if money is forthcoming. The test flight is radio controlled. Skyship number 1 maneuvers well on its 4 engines. Lift is provided by the non-inflammable gas helium.
Did he say non-inflammable gas?
I think he said non-flammable.
It sounded like it was like a double negative. Like they wanted to make. He said inflatable gas, inflammable gas, but he said like no non-flammable gas. We'll just make it non-inflammable gas to make sure people really know like helium is like.
The flying saucer design is no gimmick. The shape lends itself to easier handling, less wind resistance, that will enable the Skyship to land anywhere. At last, science is catching up with fiction.
There you go.
All right, so that was key, man. That was like, was that worth wasting? You know, like an hour. I think we got distracted for an hour, and we got back to this at the end. That was key. So, like, let's just look at that. That was, again. This is one of these hangars. This is So this is this one hangar right here. Let's locate that because I know where this one is. I'm pretty sure that is the one that's at. All right, where's our list of hangars here? Hitchcock, Texas. No, so it's not this. It's not these ones. Is it the Lakehurst, New Jersey one? No, I don't think so. So Lakehurst, New Jersey.
I was inside that Lakehurst, New Jersey one. Show me the video again.
Oh, let me just go to it.
When I grew up in Lakewood, and we used to go there on Sundays to fly airplanes, model airplanes. Yeah, I was inside those hangars.
Yeah, these aren't the ones. They're not the ones because you see the you see the doors on those hangars. These are the ones. It's not it. It's not it. These are the, like, you see the doors on it in this front, in this part. Where is it? Right here. So these are the doors. These are where did I see those ones? So these hangars are at
That looks like, wasn't that a British speaker?
They're not in Britain though.
Oh, okay.
I don't think those ones are unless they're built by the same contractor. I found these ones in the U.S. because I was doing research on this the other night. I think they're in Chicago or no, where the heck were they? They were somewhere more central. They weren't one of those ones on the list, you know. So I have that list. I'll have to look this up and get it. I hate being, you know, caught on the spot and not having it live. Maybe it was the Glencoe, Georgia ones. There's an existing base wherever they are. Let's look up Hitchcock, Texas. I don't remember this one. Anyone see an airport? Jeez, this isn't the one. I don't think I found the one there. Oh, wait. There was an Air Force base with one of them there, and you can see that, no, it's not this one in Hitchcock, Texas. But anyone know where it is? Anyone in the comments, the live chat, know where this this hangar is? It was at I forget. There's another Air Force base with hangar doors similar to this, but they're painted differently. So I'm not sure if this is. Where did he say this was taking place? Because look at this blimp. These
which once housed airships and flying machines. At Covington, thoughts have always turned to magnificent flying machines.
At Carvington?
At Covington, thoughts have always...
Covington or Carvington? One of those. So.
He said Covington, I think.
So it's in the United Kingdom. Let's look up. Yeah, we'll have to look around because I found another one. I'll have to look up and find this because I'm having a a blank on this. I saw this one the other day, and it wasn't the one in Texas. It wasn't the one in Florida. Maybe it was the one in Houma, Georgia. I mean, Flying Co. Gulfstream Air Base. So these are the ones that were in Glencoe. They were right here and right here. This was the old, or right here, sorry, and right here somewhere. But there's another hangar. No, this wasn't it. There was another air base somewhere where there's like a whole there's these other hangars. So it wasn't Georgia. It was Fort Dix. Was it Fort Dix? Yeah, so right here, right? Lakehurst. This is the ones in Lakehurst, right? And there's this whole area outside Lakehurst. Did you ever see this, Mark? There's these rails. Here's like a.
I don't think they let us into that area. There's a small airfield on the side of Lakehurst where they fly remote control airplanes.
Beamcraft, eh? I remember looking at Mirabeau's thing. That disc that's on the top of that plane is designed for microwave beaming, so that they can send energy to the craft to keep it in the air for longer periods of time.
I think that's an AWACS plane. That's for that's for like radar detection and stuff. And
that looks like that's a land-based for the Navy for the aircraft carrier catapults, so they can practice on land before they have to go out to sea and actually do it.
Is that what it is? The catapults?
It
Look at
looks
their
like
much.
it.
Oh, yeah,
they're way longer though.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming they might just have a different way of stopping the. You know what I mean? So.
Interesting. This is a whole gunnery range, though, out here from this part of New Jersey left. This is a whole nother munitions range, and it's a military base where they blow off all kinds of stuff. And these are all gunnery ranges that go this way and all pointing into this big area where you can go and shoot. And then that goes all the way out from here, all the way over to McGuire Air Force Base, where there's and Fort Dix. But again, these hangars they're big, but they're not like those other ones, man. Where the heck were those hangars? Were they in Philadelphia?
Check out Cardington Airfield in the UK. I posted a link in the private chat. Just a wiki page.
Oh, Cardington.
Cardington.
Yes. Okay. So here's Cardington Airfield, and these are those air sheds. Yep, those are those. So those are RAF hangars. So this is so there's a bunch of ones in Britain too, where Britain did this kind of stuff. So that's interesting. We'll have to dig into this a little bit more. Again, thank you guys for watching. Thank everyone who contributed to the live chat. I'm gonna go over and make sure I didn't miss any live chats. Raffle Shark, hey, great work. I'm trying to do a replication of Alexei Cherkanov's device. I'll join the chat after the stream. Cool, man. I'm going to post the link right now, and we're going to wrap this up. And thank you all for everyone who donated and everyone who contributed to this, man. This was awesome, and this was cool stuff. We're going to be digging.
That guy, the Alexei Cherkov guy, make sure he gets on. I really want to talk to him.
Yeah, Mark wants to talk to you, so definitely get on, and we'll dig into more of this next time. I'll find those other hangars in the U.S. Because there's another set of ones that have doors that look like this, the same setup, and they open like this, and they have the same kind of like roof structure and everything as these. So I'm wondering if they were built by the same kind of company around the same time. But I have to look for those and find them and compare them. And but yeah, thanks. We'll look more into this stuff and keep continuing the research on this stuff. I think that there's a good possibility that these craft might be blimps. They might just be like advanced blimp technology. And man, we have so much new stuff to FOIA. We're gonna have to make a list and dig into this. So thank you all for watching, and be sure to smash that like button. And yeah, thank you all for showing up and being part of it, being part of the stream. Thanks, Mike Williams. Thank you, Renee Cruz, Stephen Blair, Solar Warden, Wally, Tango Foxtrot, Dodge the Badger, Brian D, Raffle Shark again. Thank you for that super chat. Chris Spaghetti, oh, what is up, man? Definitely join up our after party chat. And Simon Claret, Esoteric Gold. Great to see everyone out there in the chat, man. And if anyone needs anyone wants to jump on with us for the after party, please jump in. I'm gonna post that link again right now. Boom. All right. Join up and yeah, check the video description for links. It wasn't Covington, it's Cardington. That Cardington. Oh, we got another $20 super chat from Domer Pyle. Is that Gomer Pyle or Domer Pyle? Thanks for the show, man, is what he said. Hey, awesome, man. No worries, man. We're just doing, some basic investigation into this stuff, man. So again, we don't have anything like solid yet, but we will in a couple. We will hopefully by the time this task force report comes out, we'll have some answers from the government, and that will hopefully help pry the lid off this secret further. But again, everyone, do your own research, and anyone has good research and other ideas, please join and share those ideas and information with us, because we'll be definitely doing a follow-up on this. This is something that's not, the research is not complete, not done on this. So thank you all for watching, and yeah, after party. Join the stream, join the after party. Peace. We'll catch you on the flip side.